Right, so now we're going to talk about how to hide a satellite dish. Now this didn't start off as a competition, but it certainly seems to have ended up that way. So why would somebody want to hide a satellite dish? Well, one of the things we try to do is let people know what they're going to get before they're going to get it. And a satellite dish, unlike a sky dish, which is, let's say, 18 inches across, a satellite internet dish is quite a bit bigger. So it's probably worth starting this off by looking at what are we trying to hide. And this is what we're trying to hide. So we've got a dish here which is about 80 centimetres across. We've got an arm which total front to back is 1 metre. And with some of our ingenious customers have actually been able to make these almost disappear. So there's a couple of techniques that people have used to do this. One of which is to hide it. So for example, we have Eddie, who's our first example. From his house, you can't see the satellite dish. From the field at the end of the garden, where the sheep are, the sheep can see it every day. So it was a relatively simple installation, and just hide the dish so nobody could see it. That worked really well. Another example is just think about where it can actually go on the property. So it might not actually be invisible, but in terms of day-to-day where you are in the property, sitting in the garden, etc., you can't see it. And on this house, which is John's up just north of Penrith, had a white house, slightly off white house, and with the SES dish, which again is slightly off white, and putting the dish round the side where it wouldn't be seen when you're in the garden. Really effective way of hiding a dish. With Tom, this is actually a satellite dish providing internet service for a number of holiday lodges. So it's one satellite dish serving a number of properties. And in this instance, we were able to put it in a fenced area. One of the things which, even though a satellite dish and a sky dish look like they're vertical, the actual way they're pointing at the satellite, so on a two-way dish, it's actually 26 degrees in the air. So it can get actually over quite a lot of nearby hurdles like a fence or like a hedge pretty quickly. So with Tom's, it's actually fenced around. So from the side, you can just see the top of the dish, and the rest you can't see at all. Another way of hiding a dish is, again, its position. But one of the things about planning permission is you shouldn't have a satellite dish on the front of your property or visible from the road. Obviously you would go down a street and see loads and loads of sky dishes which are exactly that. But one of the things with a satellite dish, as you've just seen when I picked that one up, it's a big thing to try and make disappear. One of the ways you can do it is, if the way it needs to point is from the front of your property, is actually mounted on the back of the property, firing over the roof. And if you can do that, like Martin up near Cockermouth, we're able to take the satellite dish way out of eye line and make it so the majority that you can't see. Martin's slightly different. Martin was one of the first ones of this type of camouflage. So Martin has a cottage, there's a barn on the opposite side of a road away from the cottage, and the satellite needed or could be positioned on the other side of that barn. So what we did in this instance is painted it moss green, which is the predominant colour on the barn, and I'm sure you'll see from the photograph that it's worked really well. For some people, there are limited options in terms of where it can go, and one of the type of customers we get where this is specific are people who live in holiday homes or the temporary accommodation, whether it's lodges, caravan type structures. The structures themselves aren't very strong. The satellite dish is about 12 kilos, and in order to be able to support that, you need a pretty solid wall or floor mount or poles concrete into the ground or something. But putting it on the side of a caravan isn't an option. So we've got a couple of options where people have been creative. The first of these is Steve. And what Steve has done is we mounted it very low down, and he's painted it just to match the other plants that he's got in the garden. and it actually works really well. Derricks is one of the good stealth ones. So again, with Derricks at the caravan site, one of the other rules is not to be able to be seen from the road or for other users. Derrick's approach was to screen it. So you can see Derrick's dish here. Well, you can see the screen, you can't really see the dish. But if we go around the corner, then you can see the dish painted dark brown, matches the shed, matches the trellis. Basically, it's invisible. Then we can get creative. So David up near Ulverston, again, we were in a position to be able to put the satellite dish some distance from the house, which meant it wasn't easily seen. It's actually the other side of a fence beyond the garden, and in the fence it's sheep. But further down the field, people looking back up to the house, it's an area of outstanding natural beauty, so he was sensitive to be able to do something to diminish its aspect. So with some stealthy camouflage, David's been able to do that and pretty much make his disappear. But my favourite is one of the most recent, and this is Rob up near Shap. Now, where the position of the satellite dish needed to be for Rob, it would have been on his house, and it would have been pretty obvious. It was a dark grey rendered house, and a light grey dish would have really stuck out. Could have painted it, but actually had different options. And you'll see from this photograph that he's done a brilliant job. So this is painted dark green. We had lots and lots of toing and froing with a bit more bracketry. Can I do this? Can I do that? Where exactly is it going to point? Can I really pull this off? And with a great deal of help of working together with Rob, this is what we've come up with. Now, I said at the start this wasn't a competition, but I'm happy for anybody to send me any of their pictures that they've either from their customers or things that they've seen, and see if anybody can beat Rob's. Until the next time, thank you.